Good morning, loves. Today is the day I'm finally going to cut off my lemons from my lemon tree. And I hear you thinking, lemons in March? Yes, lemons in March. Last year I started a little bit of an experiment for myself. I still had a few lemons that weren't ripe enough to be plucked. And because of the frost setting in, I had to put my lemon tree inside. And of course this wasn't a normal time for lemons to be growing at all, but I just let them be. They finished growing and now I can harvest them. I got 5 small lemons out of this, and I think they could have been on the tree for a little bit longer because they were still a little bit green. But I also already started to see some flowers setting in, so I thought it would be better for the plant to use its energy on the new lemons. This is what the rest of the garden is looking like at the moment. We have our garlic and we have our onions. Down here we have our little seedlings from the last video. Nothing has sprouted yet so far, but I'm keeping a really close eye on it. These little greenhouses tend to get really hot, so I think something will sprout at least in the next few days. And these I'm going to be planting today. But first I'm going to be focusing on mint. Last year I also grew mint, but it was in a smaller container. This container I'm doing it in now is almost 3 times as big. I absolutely love growing mint and I also really enjoy preserving it. I also preserved a lot for this winter, but unfortunately we already ran out before Christmas, I think. So that tells me that I needed a bigger container to grow it in. As some of you might know, mint seeds are absolutely tiny. So I couldn't quite see where I was sowing, but I assume that I put a lot in there. And also mint plants tend to spread really easily, so I'm not too worried about it right now. After sowing the mint, I just dug around in the dirt a little bit just to cover it all up, and then I watered everything. Now the soil in this container particularly is very fertile. I found many worms while digging around in it, so this mint is probably going to be growing very soon. Yesterday I got myself some new gloves. I just picked them up at my local gardening store, and these are very comfortable. They're not like that hard at the bottom. And I didn't have any yet, so I'm going to be starting by filling up all the little holes in this tray. I did make a video about how I sow my seedlings, so if you want to see this a little bit more in depth, then I suggest you go to that video next. Basically what I'm doing is I'm just filling up every hole, and then I grab a chopstick. I like to use chopsticks just because it makes the perfect little hole. And after that I'm going to be sowing 1 crop in every row. So first off I'm starting with sunflowers this time. These are a little bit too early for right now, but these trays are not outside day and night. When the sun goes away I place them in my hallway, and that way it won't be too cold for them. Right now it is about 15 degrees Celsius in the Netherlands, so that means that we can start some things. It's just that the night times tend to get a little bit too cold for some crops. But I'm trying to be really early this year. That way I hope to get a little bit more of a longer harvest season. Next up I'm going with our strawberries. Again, these are a little early, but this variety you can harvest from June to October. These seeds had a double packaging, which I don't quite understand why, but there probably is a reason for it. The seeds were absolutely tiny, but I made sure that I put 2 seeds in every little square. I might have put a little bit more in some squares, but it was really hard to see. Next up we're doing tomatoes, and I have a few varieties that I want to try out this year. This one is called Maya. This one is just kind of like a standard variety. I haven't tried any of these, so I'm really excited to see how it's gonna turn out. I'm doing a few in every hole, and then I'm just going to divide them up when they are ready to be planted. Next up we have the Tiny Tims. These give smaller but very delicious tomatoes. Again, just putting like 5 in every hole, and then I'm going to be dividing them up when they're big enough. And lastly we have these yellow pear-shaped tomatoes. My dad had these laying around and he didn't use them, so he gave them to me. And I'm really excited to see how these ones are going to turn out. As you can see here, I just put them in a different kind of container because the tray was full already. And now I'm just going to water everything down. It has been really dry here for the last few days. So to sum up everything that we are growing here at the moment, we are growing onions, garlic, beans, cauliflower, lettuce, rosemary, bell peppers and cayenne peppers, beets, kale and Brussels sprouts, and we have some pumpkins. And then now we are growing mint, sunflowers, strawberries and a few types of tomatoes. And of course some lemons, but we're gonna have to wait for those until like October or something. But yeah, we are growing a lot currently. So that also means that you can expect way more videos of me. This year I'm really trying to grow as much food as we can. So if that's the kind of content that you're interested in, then please consider subscribing. I am currently still a small creator. I'm also watering down our compost because it's a little dry. No, but I'm really trying to grow out a little bit of a community this year, just so we can all share our tips and tricks together. So yeah, let me know, what are you doing in your garden currently? Are you also trying to grow food? Are you more into animals? So with that being said, thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you in my next video. Goodbye!